Hi everyone. New history just happened on Wall Street today. SpaceX finally gone public, making it the largest IPO in the world history. The offer was $135 per share, and the target funding was $75 billion, and the IPO value was $1.75 trillion. It was the highly successful IPO. But here is a true important question. Is it normal for the company that launches the rockets, deploys satellite, and provides Starlink internet to be valued at $1.75 trillion? Isn't it like a little too much? Even the SpaceX is amazing and great company. I believe this is our future, but still 1.75 trillion sounds a bit too much. Then how exactly did the market value SpaceX today? Today, let's talk about how SpaceX is transforming into the AI company. Before we start, I post daily news on YouTube Shorts. I believe this will help your investment decision, so please check them out and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of them. Okay, then let's get started. Now, getting back to the main point, Wall Street is no longer sees SpaceX as just a rocket company. The market is starting to price it as a physical infrastructure company for the AI era. SpaceX is now being framed like a new AI company. When you hear AI company, many of you might think of chatbots like ChatGPT or Gemini, but that is not what I mean. I do not mean SpaceX is just making an AI app, but the core is XAI. Earlier this year, SpaceX merged with XAI. As a result, it is no longer just a space company, it has become a structure that combines rockets, satellite internet, AI models, and computing infrastructure into one company. In fact, because XAI requires so much capital, they plan to go public this year. In the past, the AI race looked like a model race. The focus was on who could build a smarter model, create better algorithms, and train them on more data. However, the AI race today is becoming a physical one. Electricity and power grids, data centers and cooling systems, GPUs and physical networks, satellite communication. To grow AI now, a good model is not enough. You need power and space to run the model, data centers, networks, and the infrastructure to connect everything. This is exactly where the SpaceX story changes completely. Their rockets are not just rockets, they are transportation to move infrastructure into space. Starlink is not just an internet service, it is a global satellite network. XAI is not just a side business, it is the most critical link SpaceX as an AI company. Now, SpaceX is even talking about space based AI computing. Simply put, they want to expand AI data centers into Earth's orbit, not just build them on land. At first, it sounds crazy. An AI data centers in space? But if you look at the current bottlenecks in the AI industry, you can see why this idea came up. Ground data centers are tied to the power grid. They face cooling issues, land requirements, regulations, local opposition, and rising electricity costs. As AI grows, these problems get worse. But SpaceX is asking a totally different question. Why must all data centers should be on Earth? Of course, this does not mean space data centers will be easy right away. There are radiation risk, thermal management challenges, maintenance difficulties, and massive cost. Yet, SpaceX has one unique advantage. They directly control the cost of sending things into space. They have the rockets, the satellites, the Starlink network, and now XAI as an internet business. When you view this as a single chain, the big picture becomes clear. Rockets, Starlink, the communication network, XAI, the AI model, space data centers, the computing infrastructure. When these four connect, SpaceX is no longer just a space company, it becomes a full stack infrastructure provider for the AI era. In plain terms, they want to handle everything from start to finish. They will launch the hardware, deploy the satellite network, develop the AI models, and build the computing infrastructure themselves. If this comes true, SpaceX will not be just a rocket company, it could become like the railroad companies of the AI era. In the 19th century industrial revolution, railroads were more than just transport. They were the core infrastructure connecting cities, factories, raw materials, finance, and population movement. In the 20th century, power grids and oil pipelines were the foundation of industry. Then, what is the foundation of the 21st century AI era? It is electricity, computing data centers, satellite networks, and global communication lines. SpaceX seems to be targeting this exact spot. That is why today's SpaceX IPO is not just an event where a company going to Mars went to public. It shows how far Wall Street can expand the boundaries of AI infrastructure and price it in. Therefore, the core of this IPO is the frame, not just the numbers. If you view SpaceX as a rocket company, it looks too expensive. Even as an internet company, the valuation feels heavy. But if you see it as an AI infrastructure empire, the market begins to imagine, could this company become the Nvidia of the next decade? I believe this exact imagination was the biggest force behind today's successful IPO. And this is even more important the numbers appears. Recently, SpaceX signed a massive AI computing contract with Google and Anthropic. Google was $920 million per month, and Anthropic was $1.25 billion per month. So total is $2.17 billion per month. Annually, that is roughly $26 billion. So now, AI part revenue could become a bigger source than Starlink, SpaceX's current core business. Last year, SpaceX's total revenue was around $18.7 billion, dollars, and Starlink accounted for about 60% of it, which is roughly $11 billion. Dollars. However, the annualized value of the Google and Anthropic deals is around $26 billion. Dollars. This means the biggest growth story for SpaceX is shifting from rockets or Starlink to AI computing. However, there is one major issue here. This IPO could affect the entire market. An IPO is not an event that supplies liquidity, it is closer to an event that drains it. With an ultra large IPO of this scale, some funds that would have gone into existing growth or AI stocks might move to SpaceX instead. That is why it is hard to see the SpaceX IPO as an event that will automatically save the Nasdaq. In the short term, it could actually dilute the market's buying power. Still, today's initial reaction was definitely important. The fact that SpaceX landed successfully in the market shows that investors are still ready to pay a premium for the AI infrastructure story. In other words, the market is not completely tired of growth stories yet. Of course, we cannot ignore the name Elon Musk either. Many investors have already experienced massive gains with Tesla. Naturally, looking at SpaceX, people cannot help but think of another Tesla. In the end, what we should take away from today's SpaceX IPO is not just an aerospace company went public at a record scale. Instead, we should see it as the beginning of new infrastructure company for the AI era. Rocket, Starlink, XAI, space computing, and data center infrastructure are all connecting into one. The market put a $1.75 trillion price tag on the exact potential. But for investors, there is one more important question. It is not about whether the future is right or not. It is more about SpaceX could truly become an AI infrastructure empire. However, if it is priced on day one as if the empire is already complete, the risk is significant. So I want to summarize the SpaceX listing like this. SpaceX is not a company selling rockets. It is a company trying to sell physical infrastructure for the AI era. The next AI infrastructure might just be outside of Earth, and today investors began pricing them possibility directly. Thanks for watching my video today, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.